This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Let the feast begin. You can join Paul Allen at Buffalo Wild Wings in Oakdale this Friday as we kick off the Friday football feast. Stop by for nonstop football talk, great wings and drinks, and your shot to win great prizes. Doors open at 8. Get the full details now at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
A lot of text coming in. Houston Christian plays Northwestern State later this season. A barometer for the worst Southland opponent. That's Eric in Eden Prairie. This is from 612 guy. Mase is wrong on Iowa State's schedule. Kansas State is a conference game, and they play Iowa every year. Non-conference game played last week. South Dakota.
That was not my point. I wasn't talking about. Wait a minute.
Just reading them.
The point I made was there's some schools they've started off banner year.
Yes.
That was my point.
That wasn't schedule related.
No,
You're saying.
I'm saying two first games like that, one being a conference game and one being a rivalry. That's commendable.
KFAN not speaking at all about the Badgers. It's obvious how scared PJ is about recruiting in his own state and the nearby states. That's from Troy. Whew, shots fired.
Wow.
Nice.
Their starting left tackle was the best player in Wisconsin 2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know what the Troy's a big. I think he's just trying to get people going. Where's the other one? This is from Dan. This isn't Dan Minnesota. This is Dan from Rochester. Mace's best year, he played Tulsa, Troy State, and Louisiana Lafayette. I just want one of those to be a better opponent. That's just one, not three.
I'm not
one.
trying to defend anything. You guys don't listen. You want to believe what you want. You block it out. What I'm saying, I'm comparing it to everybody else. And if you were to make criticism, make it to everybody. Just don't pick on the hometown team. You know what? You were, and maybe still are, the anti-Sid Hartman.
I raise my hand with pride in that regard.
Okay,
but
that's right.
But again, you're cherry picking because
I'm not cherry picking anything.
You're picking a couple of the teams who are now playing easy games had great non-conference opponents the week before. That's the point. I just want one. I don't expect it to be two or three. I just want one that's a better opponent. That's all. I'm not cherry picking. You're cherry picking.
Here was my philosophy. On scheduling. Okay, I'm just going to tell you. Unlike what you think, I didn't have total control. I think.
Oh, come on!
I think that any team in any conference,
you were a bulldozer.
You should pick. If a good non-conference schedule would be a comparable.
Okay. Yeah, I'll accept that.
All right, and two other schools that you have a good chance to win. A comparable. Okay.
So you're agreeing with me?
Yeah, I am. I think that's the ideal thing. So, but here's my point that people don't understand. So. Is
that my pen, by the way?
No. Oh. For Ohio State to play Texas or Ohio State, that's a comparable. Okay?
Oh, yeah, I see. Within the realm of what they represent. Yeah, I get that. That's fair.
That's a comparable.
That's fair.
But let's just say for Rutgers to play Texas.
Yes. That's not a comparable.
Yourself.
Yeah.
So that's what I would think would be.
This is from Eric in Scandia. Forgot how much I missed this banter. See, people love it. They love the banter. They love the back and forth. You missed it, too, deep down.
No, you know what they really miss?
What do they think it is?
They miss a guy that kind of gets right in your face and
separates the banter.
Separates the fact from the fiction.
Is that what it is?
I'm fact, you're fiction.
God,
that's
how long did it take longer, Starchy, than you thought for him to get the fact fiction?
In your face.
Yes, but we got our first "you're wrong."
You're wrong.
Right out of the gate.
That was right out of the gate. That's very.
Who said
very
that?
True.
You.
That was you.
It's just a reflex for you to say that to Dan. You're wrong.
I hesitate. I'm going to ask you a question. I almost don't want to because I run the risk of finding out that you didn't watch the game. That's what I'm worried about. So, did you watch any or all of the Gophers opener?
I didn't watch any of it.
Did you see a couple of the highlights?
Yeah.
Did you DVR it and maybe go back and look at a little of it?
No.
So, because I want to get
wait. Now, let me just qualify.
Okay.
I didn't know I'd watch it, so that's the honest. It's because I had a conflict.
Okay.
Not that I was opposed to anything.
That's fair.
But what I saw, I thought the quarterback looked good.
That's where I wanted to ask.
I did. I think he has a quick release. You look at the box score and you think, but then I saw some of his shots that were good passes and the receivers didn't quite uphold their end of the bargain. But I thought he looked good.
All you're looking for, I think, the first week, regardless of who the opponent is okay, just what kind of throws does he seem capable of making, right? And he made a lot of throws, and he like deep outs where it looked like he had the arm strength to do it. He should have been picked off in the end zone. But again, you're not going to be perfect in your first game. But it looks to me like he's got an idea. And as we talked about last year, if this first game is any indication, they're still throwing the ball. I think he threw it was 32 times.
Yeah, they dropped back 38 times.
Okay, 38. Yep. Even so, there was that question of, well, did he just trust Brosmer to do it last year, or did he finally see the light that he needs to throw more? And the early indications are that they're not going back.
Well, or there's another third possibility. Maybe he's starting to listen to Dan Barrero, because he wore me out talking about it for a while, for a couple of years there.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it is.
Mase never paid $800K to duck an opponent like Jerry Kill did with North Carolina. If I'll say one good thing for Basement Brew, he aimed high with his schedule. Basement Brew, can't argue with him. That's Tom in Columbia Heights.
What did that do to him?
Well, not much.
Where's he now?
Didn't work out. He's where is he this time?
I think he's in Charlotte.
Not head coach though.
No.
I don't think. Is he?
No, wait. I don't think he was the interim head coach for Charlotte. I don't know if he's in Charlotte now.
That's right. He was the interim. That's what it was. Yeah.
Where is he? That's kind of a trivia question.
Well, we should find out. Somebody will know. I don't think there's any question.
I'll look it up quickly.
Somebody will know. Let me ask you a question regarding the setup in the Big Ten. So we have 18 teams now? How many teams is it?
18.
Yep. It's 18. Okay. To your point that there's haves and have-nots, whether we want to admit it or not, I'm still stunned that they are not going to some divisions. And there's a lot of people believe once they get to 20 teams, they will, that they're just waiting to get to a round number where they can split it up, properly. But to me, to give hope to the teams who aren't going to be playing for the Big Ten championship realistically most of the time, to have this many teams, your season can get buried so easily that don't you need divisions so that fans get some hope that, okay, we can at least maybe compete for the division, or do you think that's kind of silly?
Well, I think that, I understand where you're coming from. I think it never made sense to me on the East and West division, the Big Ten, because the East side was so loaded,
Correct.
There's a lot of hope if you're in the West because all the powerhouses, the teams really playing well were in the East, especially because Nebraska wasn't pulling their weight.
Correct.
In the West. And then the problem that you get, and I know this, I always thought this, but after being the TV, if you don't think that the TV people don't have a lot of input what's going on with all the money that they put in there, and then all of a sudden you have an East and a West divisions, whatever, and you have a conference game, a championship game, and they're putting one team in that's a powerhouse and maybe another team is not going to turn a lot of TV sets on. They're thinking about how do we massage this a little bit, And, it'd be real easy the way it goes right now that you lose sight compared to former years when you're like in the West Division. And with 3 weeks to go, you still had a chance to get to Indianapolis. I agree with you.
How about this idea? Somebody suggesting as long as you're at 18, 3 6-team divisions with one wild card team, presumably the team with the best record that's left over, regardless of division, and they're your 4 teams for the playoffs. It's not a bad thought. 3 6-team divisions, and then to get a 4th team to have semifinals and finals for the Big Ten title, you have a wild card team.
That's a little too, I don't know. I have
too
to
complicated for you?
For me to just say, that's a great idea. I'm not sure. I have to think about
Bruce at Sacramento State, by the way.
That's what I saw.
Associate head coach.
Associate head coach at Sacramento State. We have to someday, when we're really bored, add up the number of programs over the course of his college career he's been at. I mean, because it's got to be, it's literally another school every year for like the last 20.
One thing that's indisputable now that everything is gone, he was a great hire for Minnesota. You can't argue that.
Mase,
am I right or not? Face. It was a great hire.
How is he a great hire?
A great hire. Oh. I mean, somebody had a crystal ball and said, this tight end coach from the Denver Broncos, this is a steal.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
This is not going to enhance your chances to go on a cross-country road trip with Mother Maturi. That's all I'm going to say. It's not going to happen.
Really, it's a steal.
Yeah, okay, if you say so. I know you like to get the shots in. All right, one more break. More with Mase, maybe a little reaction to the Notre Dame game, which ended up being an interesting game, a pretty close game as well. And the Buckeyes, is it possible that, and even LSU, it seems like those teams won with defense. So is defense making a comeback? More with Mase.
I got thoughts on that.
Oh, good. That's perfect.
Gear up for a hilarious night when Dane Cook returns to the Island Event Center. See his legendary style of stand-up comedy live at Treasure Island on Friday, October 24th. All the details now at TICasino.com.
My sources say, Glen Mason, you got a shout out from John Gruden. Gruden got a care package from the Row the Boat guys, including the head coach and an oar and the whole bit. And then he's going through shirts and names, University of Minnesota football history, and your name came up. Can you confirm?
I've had a number of people tell me that. Yeah, and I probably knew John's father better than I knew him, but I come across John a number of times, and he's got a heck of a shtick in that thing he does where he gets the package in the mail, and he's a talented guy, and I think he'd rather be coaching than what he's doing, and only time will tell.
That's for sure.
Did you hear more specifics about the shout-out?
Was it about the schedule?
He said, he's got that distinctive delivery, and Carl Mecklenburg, Bronco Nagurski, Glen Mason, that guy never missed a chance to schedule a Louisiana team, Glen Mason.
Now you're lying. Now he's lying. See, what he tries to do in his life, he tries to emulate Dan Barrero. And that is the wrong way to go.
Academically, athletically, socially, and spiritually, I try to emulate Dan. There's no question.
Yeah. All right. Look at this schedule. Look at this Golden Gopher 2025 home schedule. I mean, could it be any more inviting?
I think it's a favorable schedule.
Big Ten part. Yeah. Rutgers on September 27th. Purdue, they're terrible, right? October 11th. They're starting over, basically. Nebraska, Friday night game, the 17th. That's 6 days after Purdue. You're hosting that one. Hosting Michigan State on November 1. And hosting Wisconsin, last game, November 29. Those are all very winnable games.
Yeah. And Wisconsin's got a brutal schedule this year.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. And, it seems like public opinion has already started to turn on Luke Fickell. I thought he was a home run hire there for. I've known him; he's a class guy, and what he did at Cincinnati and going there, I thought he really fit in. But if it turns out as bad as it could be, they'll start be calling for his head over there.
So the swing games that'll ultimately determine how things go for the Gophers, how successful a season is on the road games. I mean, the hard road games are at Ohio State October 4, and later November 14 at Oregon. That's another night game. Okay, those right now, Ohio State's ranked 1, Oregon 6. That can change, obviously. So, but then the swing games to me tell the tale, right? If you just assume they're going to lose those two, and maybe that's not even fair to assume. I don't know. Weird things have happened, but you're at Cal. That's a swing game, right? You're at.
No, I would if I had to bet money right now, I'd bet on the Gophers.
On the Gophers. It's winnable.
They lost like their fourth. Their whole backfield went in the transfer portal, didn't they?
They had a good victory, although not against it. Was it
Hawaii?
They
beat Oregon State.
And then I thought they beat Hawaii.
They may have.
Okay.
This last week they beat Oregon State. They have a freshman quarterback who looked really good.
Okay, yeah.
I watched a little bit of it Saturday night.
I'm speaking from ignorance.
That's okay. And then
that's rare.
At Ohio State, if you leave those out. At Iowa, then the swing game. At Northwestern, that's the Wrigley Field game. And when I say swing, I don't mean you can't win them, but that's going to maybe tell the tale. If you assume the two top 5 or top 6 teams you end up going to lose on the road. But now I'm presuming a lot. I'm presuming you run the table at home, and I don't know. I mean, maybe Nebraska has something to say about that. Maybe Wisconsin has something to say about that. I don't know. You were talking earlier off air. It's a hard year to get a handle on the Big Ten, what we have, and eventually we'll get a little better feel. But because we got a bunch of Indiana's ranked, but I think part of that's habit. They're ranked low now. I think in the low 20s. And then Illinois, I think, is ranked like 11 or 12.
I always used to try to look at a conference two ways. One was your premier team, your really power team,
right,
that you think has a legitimate chance to contend for a national championship. Is there one? Is there two? Is there three? Aren't there any? And then what's your strength top to bottom? And I think this year there might be an inordinate number of teams that look weak to me in the Big Ten.
You might be right. It could be that kind of year for sure. Anything strike you from the opening weekend? Obviously the Notre Dame game, Notre Dame Miami looked like that was a good ball game.
Yeah,
turned out to be a good ball game.
Yeah, you know what I took away from that game? Carson Beck, the quarterback for Miami, who was at Georgia, and a good friend of mine, Gary Holman, said before the game, if Carson Beck was that good, do you think Georgia would have let him leave? And after watching that, I can tell you, watching that game, if I had a choice of taking Carson Beck, not the same game, but the quarterback, from Notre Dame, I'd take the Carr kid. I'd have taken him. I liked him better than Carson Beck. And then attitude is such a big part of it. Part of the interview during the pregame, when somebody asked him, Carson Beck, are you worried about being a little rusty? And his answer was, I'm one of the best players in the game. Too arrogant for me.
You don't like that?
Yeah, because he hadn't done anything. What has he done? And I think the Georgia people are glad that he went. And after that game, he was dancing around that field like he won that game. They won that game in spite of him, if you ask me.
Are you calling for Bill Belichick's head yet?
No, why would I call for his head? Huh?
That's just my way of introducing the subject.
That very disappointing. No one could refute that. I mean, they played very, very poorly. I know he's the first-year coach. I know they've got 70 new players, and TCU might be a really good team, but they weren't playing Ohio State.
No, they're not. Yeah, TCU's
they
not
weren't
ranked.
doing that, and the number of big runs against that team, and his son's the defensive coordinator.
Right.
They didn't allow nepotism when I coached. You couldn't have anybody in your family on your coaching staff. And I think this is right. I know Steve, his son, is the defensive coordinator, and I think his offensive coordinator's son is the tight end coach. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, yeah.
They get paid a lot of money.
That's true. I mean, it was. I think Mike Wilbon had a rant about, not necessarily about just the hype on that game in Carolina, the ESPN approach, but just in general, that the tone of a lot of the coverage is so over the top. Like, whatever happened the first weekend, it's the first weekend, right? And so the idea that now if somebody does something well, we're comparing to all-time greats. If somebody or a team does poorly, that, well, they're done, we're never going to talk about them again. There's always a lot of overreaction the first week, but it feels like it's getting worse. I think this may be more just the way ESPN largely covers a lot of this stuff. It just doesn't feel like there's any perspective, where people are losing their minds. And the whole day on ESPN, the buildup. Now, again, it's interesting that Gardsey and I think are in agreement on this. That I think it's interesting that he's coaching college, and I'm curious to see where it goes, if it can go anywhere. Right? I'm not rooting against him or against the story, but it gets so built up, Mase, that whole day it was like Super Bowl week that there was not another team playing, there was nothing else to talk about, and you feel like people lose their sense of perspective as they try to build up one story.
Well, realistically, why do you think Bill Belichick is at North Carolina?
Well, good money. He wants to get back in it, I guess. I don't know. Boredom? What do you think?
Only job he could get.
No.
I mean,
you're right.
You can't argue with what he's done. He's a pro football coach. Mm-hmm. Never coached in college. Never recruited. Never, so this might be the great experiment. Does this work? And the whole thing is, now the transfer portal makes it a whole different game. I know that, but if you want to get to pro football, come to North Carolina. Who can better get you there than Bill Belichick? But I think it would hard argue that if he could have got another NFL
no question, he wanted to do it,
and had control like he did at the Patriots, that's what he would have done. So,
well, I mean, the debate. We don't have a lot of time left, but I mean, the debate is always going to be there. That all right, when you're talking about the Patriots dynasty, was it more about Parcells or about Brady? And obviously,
Belichick or Brady?
Excuse me, Belichick. I always do that. I don't know why. I always have Parcells on the brain with Belichick for some reason. Since, Brady won a Super Bowl elsewhere, right? And the one-loss record before Brady and after Brady for Belichick is not very good.
Well, like they always say, the Jimmies and Joes are more important than the X and O's, and you can be the greatest coach in the world, and if you don't have the players, you got a problem. And I guess maybe if you're a terrible coach and you got great players, it'll be disguised. And the most important player to have is the quarterback.
No
that's
question.
why they get paid all that money, and that's it's amazing when you look at the guys that are always revered as the top coaches. I'm going to say it's different in college than it is pro, because pro they have a draft and you finish first, you pick last, so on and so forth. But it isn't amazing. There's some schools, it doesn't matter who the coach is, they win.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's other schools, doesn't matter who the coach is, they lose.
Yeah.
Now, figure that one out.
Any thoughts on the Vikings opener and what's fair to expect of J.J. McCarthy, given the Vikings in the offseason were very ambitious. They added to their offensive line and their defensive line. They built as if they think they have a chance to do something right now, even though the QB is going into his first season of actual play. So what's fair to expect from the get-go of J.J. McCarthy?
Well, I tell you, fair's way by a pig in August.
Yeah.
You got to learn that. I don't know. I'm very anxious to see it because we haven't seen him play. And I was a little surprised that one preseason game, he didn't play at all. Not a snap for a guy that, missed last year. A lot of people say, he looks really good in practice. They don't hit the quarterback in practice. It's entirely different. But I'll just say this. I don't mean negative. How many times you see, every year, in and out, the first-round pick quarterbacks, some of them make it and some don't. And you don't know ahead of time. I always use this as an example here. Do you remember when Christian Ponder was taken?
I do.
That whole camp down in Mankato, every night, Rick spewing, this guy, he makes throws. Tom Brady can't make this throw. Maybe he did in practice, but it doesn't work out. I want to just say, I wish him the best.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the jury's out on him. And I hope they got the offensive line all, because you can be how many times did you ever see Tom Brady hit when he was with the?
Not very much.
I remember one year they were struggling a little bit, and Parcells went and got Dante Scarnecchi, his offensive line coach, out of retirement and brought him back because that's how important it is. So it'll be interesting to watch, and I think the Bears are interesting to watch. New coach, and from what I can see, the comments, he's not exactly treating Caleb Williams with kid gloves.
No.
He tell him like it is. So,
probably what he needs. Well,
I would agree.
I think from the Vikings standpoint, one of the interesting things is they've said we're committing more to the run. We want to believe that we think we need to become a more physical team. Presumably that also helps a young quarterback.
No
Will
doubt.
they? Will they? Because they have two running backs now. They went out and got Jordan Mason. So I'm as curious to see about that. Will they really make over. It's still a passing league, but can they make the transition a little bit to not being afraid to run the ball a little bit more often? Because I think that would help the kid too. And
they got Carson Wentz, and he might not be healthy, right?
Well, I think he's relatively healthy now. It's just a matter of he's been like with 6 teams in 6 years. It's like he's just not the same guy, but he's the backup at least. And Guardsy's guy, Brosmer, made the team.
Yeah.
Everybody's high on Brosmer.
Why not?
Yeah.
I tell you, it's hard to make an NFL team at any position. Really hard to make it at quarterback.
Yeah, so we'll see. Any road trips before next week?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I'm shelled for a while.
Okay, that's shocking. But
yeah, I put too many fumes in the air in my Escalade. I gotta see what I do though. I don't drive it a lot, so I prorate it by the month. So I'm I build up that carbon tax or whatever you call it.
Mase in Your Face is back. We'll chat with you next. Is it Wednesday every week, or was this a special week?
No, Wednesday's the plan, right,
Wednesday's
Mase?
usual
what time?
3:30, 4, whatever you got.
It used to be 4 to 5. I'm kind of.
Oh, was it?
Today was unique because we've got Lieber.
We got
to fit
Lieber
in.
at 4:47.
So 4 to 5 is what you want.
We know you're
4 to 5.
We know you're temperamental. So if we have to go 4 to 5, we'll do it.
I'm a 4 to 5 guy.
All right, we'll work it on 4 to 5.
Great.
Mase in Your Face. Lieber is coming up in about 15 minutes.
If you missed us at the State Fair, you can shop all of our 2025 fair designs in the KFAN Pro Shop and be on the lookout for a few brand new variations as well. Secure your new KFAN swag today at kfan.com/store.
This is going to be a quickie segment because, as we've learned with Mase over the years, the exit's difficult sometimes. And
it's the ultimate Minnesota goodbye.
It is, actually, which is ironic because he's not one of us either.
He's not.
But that's the deal. Love the Brosmer hype. Wanted to point out that I believe NDSU made NFL history with their 4th consecutive quarterback drafted, all in the league, too. Greg from Lakeville, Dan, lots of great segments, but one I always try to catch is Mason. He's great. Well, he's in midseason form because we end up going back over the schedule stuff, in fact and fiction, over and over and over again. But I'm glad people still aren't tired of it because maybe they do like the buy play. I'm not so sure. Despite the fact that I ended up being cheap shotted by both of you, thought your line was a good line.
Which line was it?
The line that you tried to threw in late, kind of dryly.
One? I kind of forced it.
And then he lost his mind on that. And then you guys both ripped me. You ripped me, and then. I don't even know how I got.
I don't think I ripped you.
You didn't really rip me, no. But it was well played, I thought. Now, of course, he didn't quite see it that way.
Did you make any progress on the negotiations for writing his book? I don't think that hour helped. That caused.
You'll notice I didn't bring that subject up.
You didn't. I almost did, but
no,
I didn't need you skating for the next 2 hours.
We're fine. We'll get. It's you've been around it. There's ebb and flow to it,
Yep.
But I thought I was going to gain a few points for basically making him sound like one of the great, road trip philosophers for the first 15 minutes.
Right.
But once we got back to what we got back to, there was no getting away from it or out of it. Thanks again also to Jack's Cafe, new sponsor. We appreciate their participation in this event, which we will hope to try to hold on to for at least the next several weeks.
Oh yeah,
if not a little bit longer. I will ask him this question next time because it's a good one. What kind of personality did Mase like in his QBs? That's actually a pretty good question. So remind me of that next week. I'll try to save that one because I'm sure we've talked about that over the years, but not lately. And it's a good question. 701 guy, it's year 0 in North Carolina. Sheesh, give him a break.
That's good.
That's pretty well played.
They have 70 new players.
Yeah, that's what I mean, maybe he's not going to be up to it. I don't think, I'm not ruling out that possibility, but it's just, but what's weird is, I guess you could say, Belichick's taking the money, so he has to understand that with the money, there's hype from the beginning, even if it's irrational hype this early. But it is crazy how nuts people get on the basis of a single game. Like whatever he's going to do or not do is going to be based on that opening game. He isn't responsible for the way many of the networks, from a college football standpoint, turn this into like the story of the century. Almost from and as we got closer and closer to building up that specific game. Again, he's taking the money, and that's not ordinary money for a college coach who's never been a college coach before. So he's got to know that comes with the territory. But man, it's a bit exhausting.
Yeah, and what's strange to me about it, the betting money is it's not going to work, probably, right?
Yes.
If you had to bet, if DraftKings had odds, it would be that this is not going to work. What's been confusing to me, and maybe I'm just too naive, is how many people seem to just be rooting for it to not work.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
And are ready to pounce and pile on and have the schadenfreude. Now, I get it. Some of that, too, might be because of how Belichick conducted himself throughout his tenure with the Patriots.
Yes.
Whether it was the media stuff or the various scandals that he was embroiled in, it seemed like, every couple of years, whether it was Deflategate or Spygate or whatever gate you want to assign. But it seems to me that there's so many people that are just waiting for it to go, told you this was a bad idea. I never would have done it. This was stupid. Told you they should have gone with somebody else, when I don't mind people taking unique chances like this every once in a while.
All right, let's do this. Let's stay on schedule because I got a little bit behind. We do want to talk more pro football, as we did towards the end of our discussion with Mase, to preview it is Bears week after all. So we'll get Nacho's view on this game, what he is paying attention to as we prepare for a highly anticipated Monday night season opener for the Purple. That is next.